The brief commentary on Sura Al Hujurat. Interpretation of the one verse of Al Hujurat. It is reported that Abdullah al-Zubair said that one day a group of horsemen from the Banu Tamim tribe came to the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and Abu Bakr said, "Appoint al-Mabad Zurara as the elder among them." Umar said, "No, it is better to appoint al-Akrahabis." Then Abu Bakr said, "You just want to contradict me." Umar answered him, "I did not intend to argue with you." They began to argue and raised their voices, and then the verse was sent down, "O you who believe, do not be ahead of Allah and His Messenger and fear Allah, for Allah is hearing, knowing." This hadith was reported by al-Bukhari, and in one of his versions it is reported that Abdullah said, "After the revelation of this verse, Umar spoke with the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, so quietly that he asked him again. And he did not mention that his grandfather, that is, Abu Bakr, did the same." Interpretation of the 9th verse of Al Hujurat. It is reported that Anas Malik said, once the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was told, "You would visit Abdullah Ubey." The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, went to him on a donkey, and the Muslims went along with him on foot. In those days the ground was ready to be covered with plants. When the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, came to him, he said, "Stay away from me. I swear by Allah, the unpleasant smell of your donkey gives me anxiety." One of the Ansar said, "By Allah, the donkey of the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, smells better than you." Then one of the tribesmen of Abdullah angrily interceded for him, and the two began to scold each other. Then each of those present took the side of his comrade, and a fight broke out between them. They beat each other with palm branches, sandals, and hands. Then we learned that on this occasion the verse was sent down, "If two groups of believers fight among themselves, then reconcile them." This hadith was reported by al-Bukhari and others. It is reported that Abu Bakr said, "I heard the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, if two Muslims come together in battle, crossing their swords, then both the killer and the killed will end up in hell." Then I asked, "O Messenger of Allah, it is clear why the murderer gets there, but what is the fault of the murdered?" He replied, "Indeed, he also wanted to kill his comrade." This hadith was narrated by Ahmad, al-Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, and Nasai and others. Interpretation of the 10th verse of Al Hujurat. It is reported from the words of Nu'man Bashir that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "In their mercy, love and sympathy towards each other, believers are like a single body. If one of the organs becomes ill, then the whole body responds to this insomnia and fever." Narrated by Ahmad, al-Bukhari, and Muslim. Abu Hurairah reported that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "Do not envy each other, do not raise the price of a product that you do not want to buy it, do not hate each other, do not turn away from each other, and do not interrupt other people's transactions. And be brothers, O servants of Allah. A Muslim is a brother of a Muslim, he does not oppress him, does not leave him without his help, and does not despise him. Piety is here." He pointed to his chest 3 times, and then continued, "In order to commit an atrocity, it is enough to despise your Muslim brother. A Muslim is completely inviolable for another Muslim, his blood, his property, his honor are inviolable. And beware of suspicion, for suspicion is the most false story. Indeed, Allah does not look at your appearance or your wealth, but He looks at your hearts and your deeds. This hadith was narrated by Muslim. Interpretation of the 11th verse of Al Hujurat. It is reported that Abu Jubair ad-Dahik said, "Some of us were called by 2 or even 3 names, and it so happened that this person did not like them. And then the verse was sent down. And not call each other offensive names." This hadith was narrated by At-Tirmizi, who called it good and authentic. It was also narrated by Ahmad, Abu Dawud and others.